Hi, my name is Dale Dierdorf. I am pleased to teach QSO 640 Project Management here at SNU. After retiring from a major aerospace company as a project and a program manager, I transitioned into a role as an enterprise consultant. I have over 30 years of experience in organizational management and leadership. The reason I enjoy teaching and facilitating in the SNU MBA program is because the students are looking for what I'll call a stronger focus on the subject of project management. They want to explore the focus areas from an independent perspective. They want to learn not only from me, but from the other students. Now, I'm here today to talk to you about a technique I learned as a project manager and have used for over 15 years to be successful in project management, called microscheduling. All of us use project management techniques and principles every day. When we decide to buy a car or a house, when we plan a vacation or our kids' activities and workflows, we create schedules and plans that demand flexibility. In project management, we have many different scheduling views we can use. Let's take a peek at those. Now, typically we've got two key ones. One is the Gantt view, and you can see the Gantt view in the bottom view there. Now, a Gantt view is a great view. It provides a hierarchical view of the project, the elements, the milestones, with a predecessor and successor logic tied into it. It also gives you a point in time as to where you're at, in addition to being able to track, I'll call it the critical path. Now, the critical path is just the longest path through the project, but many times we get tied up and we think that that's something that we really must micromanage. I don't want you to micromanage, and I don't want you to microschedule the critical path. What I want you to do is take a peek at that network diagram we've got there also. Now, the network diagram illustrates where we have intersections. That's where you have two elements that come together. Those are problem points, and those are typically areas that I would tell you that if you've got a schedule on a project and it seems to have some risk associated with it, this would be a great technique to work with. Now, let's go ahead and take a peek at a couple other different types of, I'll call it philosophies. So the first one is from a I'll call it a microscheduling technique. I don't want you to take every little thing on a project and identify it. You don't need to do that. The first thing you need to do is understand the task. What is the major overall task? The goal, the objective. Write that down on a piece of paper and then line by line fill out what are the pieces necessary for it. Now, in the example I've got here below my image, you can see that we're going to plant a tree. The project is to plant a tree, and I wrote out all the steps associated with that. Now, there theoretically are 12 steps that I identified. So the next thing you do is you get a blank piece of paper and you draw 12 squares on it. You could draw 20 squares. I've drawn them up to 40 squares. I've drawn them as few as 10 so that you can identify exactly what it is you want to do. Now, in addition to that, you're going to translate those 10 items that you listed as tasks into these 12 boxes. So you identify the task descriptions and place that in that template for you. Now, we're going to walk from simple to complex because you can see that that's pretty simple getting to that point. Now what we need to do is we need to add some details to it. Now what we're responsible for doing is really understanding the merit and the pieces within that. Each one of these elements or cells has a duration associated with it, whether it's 1 day, 5 days, a half day, 2 hours, 1 hour. What you want to do is you want to take those tasks that you identified, and the first thing you do is you put the duration below it. Understanding that duration as you go across, as I've illustrated for you here, and then come back, grab a calendar. Once you've got the durations in, grab a calendar for this particular event of planting a tree in 2021 in March. We're grabbing our calendar and we pick a day to start with, and you can see that that first day that we picked is a 1 day duration. So it starts on this first day and it ends on that same day, and you repeat that logic all the way across. That gives you the ability to identify what we call the baseline start and the baseline finish days across the top as illustrated here. Once you're done with that, theoretically, you understand how long the project takes and what it looks like. Now, Don't get tied up in any more of the logic associated with that, because what I want to do now is I want to walk you through a couple different things. One is most of you are going, yeah, this is simple for something like planting a tree, but everything I work on is more complex. Everything is different than that. You can't break it down into something as simple as that, and you can. But what I wanted to do was show you that we've laid that flow out for you in a project plan referred to as Visio. Visio is just a graphic organizer. You can use any of the details that you want, and you just put and translate that information over into Visio. Now, Visio can also, I'm going to go ahead and pull a copy of it up. I'm going to pull the program up. For a complex project, you can lay out something that looks like this. Now you can see that inside this, the architecture is different. There's a do loop inside there. There's a yes-no decision made. You can have two pieces going into one. It's not hard to create that type of logic. So it's very simple to do that. Let's go back to our example now. Now that you've got your baseline start and baseline finish days in, what I want us to do is let me just get over here. What I want us to do is take a peek at what that looks like if we had filled information in. So I've got information filled into this. In this particular example, you can see that within that Visio file, I've gone ahead and taken the little gray bar that I had and I pull that across to show how far we are in each of the tasks. Let's take this as an example and say, I've gotten to the point where you can see that when I put the fertilizer in the hole and mix it with the mulch, I'm only 50% done. And I've gone red on the other side and 50% completed. That's because when I got into this task, I found out I only had half a bag of fertilizer. So I can't go any further. I have to go to the store. I have to buy fertilizer. I have to come back. There's a variety of other tasks that need to be done. So this gives me the ability and for everyone to be able to see exactly where we are, where we're stuck, what we need to focus on. This is a perfect example of working with a project and being able to see the whole picture in one snapshot. Now, the big thing I want you to remember, here's for me, my final comments on micro-scheduling for you. One, always develop your micro schedules with your teams. Ask them for input. Is this really the flow? Are there other things that we haven't taken into account that could prevent us from getting across the finish line? It's important when you're working in teams with projects to always look at your stakeholders, your customers, your clients, the other team members. Ask for their input. Make sure they understand what this schedule looks like, this micro schedule that we're putting out. The other piece I'm going to say is when you're done with this schedule, I want you, from a micro scheduling standpoint, I want you to put your name on it. Once you put your name on it, there's accountability associated with it. In addition to that, then I want you to ask other people, who's responsible for this particular task or that one, and have them put their names associated with it. And you'll find that once you introduce this level of detailed planning and scheduling, in addition to accountability, your projects will become much more successful. Well, that's everything I've got for you. Once again, have a great day. Bye-bye.